I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see next year's because Solo Leveling's coming out this week, right?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's gonna flop or not. I'm so
I'm so worried, Miles. I think it's coming out on Sunday. First
where
episode
It's whatever
on
that
Crunchy?
comes out on the 6th.
On
comes
Crunchy?
out on the 6th. Yeah, on Crunchyroll. Yeah.
Interesting.
the flop material is so 50-50 because we know they're changing bits of the story. So
They're making it in Japan, which is so
So
and that's huge because
so
it's
big.
based in South Korea.
and there's
that's
Japanese
huge for the
characters
lore.
too, so it's like I don't know.
Unless they're gonna flip and make the Japanese characters from the
South Korea.
webtoon be Korean.
No, but it's more than that. It's based in there. They have interactions with Japan. They have it's very.
No, we're talking about in
important.
the anime. If they're gonna flip them,
No, they have to change a lot regarding the story since they're in Japan.
I guess that's why we're seeing that one girl being introduced. When I'm like, she should be like a season 2.
Yeah, like she really
person.
should be like a season 2 type character. But
Yeah.
for those that don't know what soul leveling is, or maybe just heard about it, if you know what manhwas are, like it's probably one of, if not like
Yeah.
probably like top 3 or 4 biggest manhwas
of all time.
of all time. And
Like
there are a lot of
Solo
things. There are a lot of
Leveling
things
works.
good, or there are a lot of things that can make this thing really good, or a lot of things that can make this thing bad. Because people do care about other characters besides the main character, and unfortunately, with solo leveling, it's really, really, really heavy on the main character, and there's not a lot of there's little to no character development in terms of like the other characters besides Sun Woo. So that can be an issue with some people. So if like the anime is different and they give more context and more character development to the other characters, then that could work out. But it's and the anime is supposed to be like, yo, you're gonna see this like little scrawny kid become him. He's gonna be Himothy. Like he's going to be think of Gojo and Sakuna and whoever else you think is him, just fuse them all together. That's who he ends up being from like a scrawny little nerdy kid. So
The world's weakest hunter.
yeah, like he goes from weakest to like, yo, this nigga's low key too strong for like a good quarter of the story. Like he's just too strong for a decent chunk. Like the final arc, he was just too strong at that point. Like there was like I was just like it kind of got a little stale because of like, oh, here comes a big bad, and then he's like, I'm way stronger. It was like a one punch. It turned into one punch almost.
Mm-hmm.
It gets that bad?
No, like
no, it's not bad.
I'm not saying bad negatively. Like he's really dwarfing people in strength. Like,
well, in the way it works,
yeah.
Miles.
He's
The way it works, Miles.
stronger
He,
than
like
everybody else.
in like his world, whatever mana you got's what you got, right? You don't get a chance to increase or anything like that. But he's like the one person who can actually increase it because he was legitimately weak.
Yeah.
And then whatever happens to him because I want people to watch the episode, and then he's able to grow from that by completing these little quest things that he always gets all the time. So that's why as you watch him rise, and I think at some point, like halfway through the story, after the island arc, right? I was like, he's the only dude who's allowed to level up. Everybody else is locked. Everybody else is level locked, basically.
Do they explain why he's chosen in the manga?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say him. It's not like Saitama, where Saitama is clearly like.
I'm saying like towards the end, like there's some moments
towards the end, it was like
there's some moments where he just clears everybody. You're just like
he clears all the good guys like 70% of the way through. Like everybody that's a good guy is so below him, it's not even funny. But all the bad guys are still relative to him until like throughout the story, like the really really bad ones. Whereas like Saitama, we have yet to meet anybody that's even close to Saitama. So it's not
the only person I think in Saitama's story is God. That's the only person.
That's probably the only one. And Blast
maybe
because we've never seen it. But Blast is probably not either.
I don't even think Blast is going. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't even.
Besides teleporting, Blast was already gassing Saitama. Like, bro, dang.
But he forgot his
Come join me. Join me. Pull up.
When Blast like figures out again how strong Saitama is, that's gonna be interesting. I guess they also introduced, if you caught up with the One Punch Man manga, the new swordsman, like
the ninja guy,
to be part that's supposed to give them some lore about God. Maybe he will be on more of a challenge than Garo was, so we get to see a little bit more from Saitama. Unsure
Well,
though.
I like the at least right now in the actual because the web comic is a whole different thing. Genos just went fucking crazy in the web comic, like because I think they're starting to work toward who's the person that destroyed Genos's village in the web comic.
Mm-hmm.
But in the manga itself, how do you guys feel about a lot of people? It feels like really quickly learning how freaking powerful Saitama is.
Well, real
I
quick,
like it.
I was gonna finish up my soul leveling point.
Oh, my bad.
No, but when it comes to soul leveling, like I feel like a lot of success, like I feel like a lot of ways it needs to be successful because if it is, then like it's gonna open the floodgates for multiple other
Manhwa.
big manhwas. Because you could, I'm pretty sure you can tell Shar more about it later, but the beginning after the end would probably be if that gets animated, it'll be like it will be the best. It's better than Jobless Reincarnation to me. It'll be the best isekai.
I agree. As much as I love Mishoku Tensei, beginning after the end is a better.
Yeah, so that's a big manhwa.
I don't know.
Omnipotent Reader is
I'm
another
sold
big one.
highly on slime, but I do like beginning after the end. So
Well,
but I'm saying like
if you want to do the pantheon of isekais, how many are you really putting on that list? Are you putting 5?
no, I think slime and then beginning after the end is number 2. But
yeah,
I'm not as cut up as y'all.
but
So
soul leveling successful, it opens the floodgates for so many other manhwa, and hopefully eventually Ordeal. Hopefully that gets
The turning point, man.
yeah.
well, I
So
think
soul
they already opened it up because Tower of God. People
Tower God
don't know
season 2
this.
comes out. Yeah,
Tower of God season 1 was actually an amazing adaptation. Like people think it wasn't, but it actually was an amazing adaptation.
so we'll see how
Considering
season 2 does. But God of War was a letdown for a lot of people.
God of High School was a bad adaptation. It skipped too much story. It was actually terrible.
I'm actually reading God of High School right now, so I'll be doing some updates on that. I'm 100 chapters in.
Morgan, that guy, Dai, he's my guy. Shout out Dai.
But no, like if because that's a big, like I love solo leveling, but I love the beginning after the end more. So if that can get animated, but I feel like solo leveling needs to be successful because in terms of manhwa, we've had more L's than we have had W's.
Well,
Probably had
solo
like
leveling is it fair to say solo leveling is the most popular manhwa out there?
I think so.
No, Tower
Wow.
of God.
You think Tower of God's more
No,
popular?
I
Yes,
think
by
solo
far.
leveling. I think really more
Oh, in the
popular.
world?
Yeah,
Tower of God.
I think solo leveling.
I think
I
solo
think more
leveling is more
solo
people
leveling because
maybe popular is not the right.
also
What's
the
the
light
cat?
novels
It's
sell
the
really well.
casual choice would be solo leveling, wouldn't it? That's
Yeah,
what I
no, it
should
would
have
be
said.
solo, but also yeah, the light novels too, and solo leveling. But the thing is, like solo leveling, like the adaptation, there's so many ways it can go wrong. This is why I'm worried. Like Tower of God can be successful just based off the structure of its story, but solo leveling.
Leveling, the only reason why that's going to go wrong is because Japan is being weird about it. That's the only reason.
Oh, that and like this. Besides the fact that like we don't really get a lot of depth with other characters besides him, so like that can get
Also
stale
true.
for some people because we're like, hey, we
That's
only
that's
really
one
learn.
of solo leveling's biggest drawbacks. Like there could have been a clear character right for great character development was that first healer that he had in the first mission that it goes in that goes kind of awry.
I always thought it's weird she just disappeared.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stand by
He's
it.
great character
In
development.
terms of
That
character
could've been-
development, it's it's at least 95, 97% him, and then like 3% everybody else, maybe. Like we
maybe
get
y'all
more character development from his shadows than we do from actual characters.
To be
Do y'all
fair,
really see
another
the
person who
fandom
should
not
have
liking that though? Isn't that the point?
No, you got a great point, Miles. Solo leveling is a hype series. I stand
really
by.
is.
Like, I don't think it's a crazy narrative. I don't think the story is that deep. I think it's hype. It's cool. The art is great, and there's amazing fights. That's what I think solo leveling is. Whereas Tower of God is like the One Piece of webtoons, like straight up.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
I'm not
You
gonna
caught
make
it. You
that.
caught Riddell. You caught
God.
up on Tower of God. Hold on.
I haven't. So I stopped
on.
reading when they had they were about to have a tournament. I think it was
Oh,
one of
you got to
the
get back
family
into it,
heads
bro.
were
You
about
gotta
to have
get
a
back into
tournament
it.
trying
It's
to decide
peaking.
Bam's wife, and I was like, I don't want to see that right now, so I stopped reading. But Tower of God is
Now you should start reading because they don't really get into it. Like they don't do that.
because I'm
Yeah,
not
it's a
I'm
twist,
trying
bro.
to
You
see
gotta.
Bam just do more cool stuff.
You
I'm not
got,
trying to see
bro.
that tournament.
It's peaking right now. It's peaking right now.
Tower of God is fantastic.
Tromeri is him.
I mean, and what Riddell said is right. Soul leveling's story is very simple. That's why we're so worried. Like,
But they'll fuck it up. They're already
I wish we didn't. We never saw her at all, and make the healer girl the main kind of focus to have somebody else to get through.
Are you
character
talking about the
development
manhwa or the anime?
in the anime? I wish we
I
never
thought
saw
she should
that
have been
girl.
the main focus in the manhwa. Oh,
If it should have been at least give us a better reason for why the girl like retires basically from being a healer, right? Than what they gave us in. They just
The
gave her
anime
off like
does
a
have a
like
chance to
Miles, think of this, right? Your childhood friend, and the reason why you were put in the story-changing situation ends up leaving for the rest of the story after the first arc. Like she's just gone.
she does
There's
come
no
back for a little
explanation.
bit, like
She comes
maybe a
back for like
couple.
one chapter.
Yeah, she comes back for one chapter because she's like she can't really fight Miles, but she's an amazing healer.
She's
Like
so important to the main character
so
too.
important. And then she
She's
just
just gone.
leaves. She's
It's so
gone.
weird.
Because you
And there's
think
no
like you just
explanation
assume
as
that
to
she's
why.
like
She just
Well, because they said that she retired because what happened in that mission traumatized her so badly. She had
Yeah.
like such bad PTSD she couldn't go back into dungeons again. And I'm like, that's such a bullshit.
And the weird thing is, like, the main
at least
character
showed
didn't-
that. At least showed that, Miles. Like, give us an
Like,
arc where
yeah.
she's trying and she just can't, and then she retires.
And
They
the
just
main character
fucking
doesn't
drop her
even,
off
have
like,
that be the
first
one
arc.
character that come up alongside him.
Yes, just
Okay,
do
okay.
that. That's one
Gotcha.
of Solo Leveling's few problems.
Yeah, but hype. It's like Solo Leveling. I don't know how you feel about Kaiju number 8. It's like Kaiju number 8 to me.
Mm.
That's what I
It-
think Solo Leveling.
I think
Okay.
it's more hype than that though. I feel like it gets more intense, way more intense than
Yes,
Kaiju.
it does. Because at some
I would
point,
agree.
at
No,
some
'cause,
point,
Miles, there could be times like with Solo Level, you're just like, yo, I'm just locked in because this is going crazy. Like it just goes crazy sometimes. You're just
Yeah,
like,
I'm
all
in
right.
a group chat and they were
when he
talking about it every week before it ended.
Lonnie, when he pulls up on the orcs and he showcases like his true power for like one of the few times early in the series, and you're like, oh,
They just needed the biggest thing though. They just need to get Arise right. If he says
Oh,
Arise cold as hell, because that's like the main, like the main, that's like the Bankai of the
That's like
series.
yeah.
When he just says Arise, and you just know shit's about to go
bro,
down.
even in the manhwa, every time he says arise, they draw it differently than the
They
rest
draw
of
it
the word
differently.
bubble.
Just that,
Like this is important what he's about to do right now.
Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Miles, if you were to create, and everybody, if you guys were to create the penultimate edgy badass character, that is Sung Jin-woo. That is literally him when it comes down to
He
his
said
character.
edgy.
He's the penultimate edgy, and then he has shadow powers. Also, the best shadow power user in like fiction by far.
Leather jacket,
Really?
Rick Owens.
Yeah.
Shadow
boots.
user by far. Like the way he uses it versus like anybody I've ever seen, there's a gap. There's a gap.
Another
There's a clear
person, another person who was right for character development was his own sister. After she gets attacked at the school, and it turns out that Jinmu was like, "Yeah, I got you protected." You got like four or five of his strongest orcs to protect her in her shadow. They're just in her shadow at all times, following her, right?
Oh,
So, and I'm like, "Yo, like." She
No,
just got attacked in
that's a
school.
fact.
Let's deal with that.
He says stand up and some Arise or some other shit. I won't watch it. I'll protest.
He said
Oh my
stand up.
god!
Also,
Like,
his dad could have used more story too. No,
it's all how
That's
dare
what I was
they give
waiting
his
on.
dad
I was waiting on his dad.
such little story, bro. That's a whole arc right